Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating nature-inspired watercolours in my studio, which are easy for you to do too. I share all my paintings with you on YouTube, and on our website dianeantone.com you can find free downloadable sketches for all the videos to help you make the most of your painting journey. And if you'd like a little bit more, we also have channel memberships with loads of perks for you to enjoy. So welcome on board. Click subscribe and turn on notifications, and let's learn to paint watercolour. Now, if you watched the last video I did, previous to this one, which was the red cardinal on holly, you will have seen me preparing this background. And now it's dry, and I have various different things that I can do at this point because somehow this background has got to be improved. The dots that I put on towards the end, I must have put them on a little bit too late, and they didn't bleed into the background as well as they should have. But all is not lost because we can adjust that. And the other thing is, this is very blue and I want to put robins on this painting, and I want them to be quite nice and red. So I need to get rid of the blue that's behind the birds. Now, because this is a lifting paint, I hope, for example, ultramarine blue does not stain. So I should be able to just come in with water on my brush, wet the paint that I put on earlier, and like this one here, I should be able to just, like magic, lift that out. It takes a few goings over, but even just using a soft brush, you don't need to and you don't want to use a stiff brush for this, although it might be quicker. Chances are you would damage the paper a little bit, or even quite a lot. And you don't need to get all of it out, but I think it really helps to lift out some of the extra paint that you've got there that you don't really want. Of course, if I'd have known what I was going to paint on this in the first place, I could have masked out the subject and then it wouldn't have been painted in with the rest. But 9 times out of 10, the background turns out different to what you expect, so you end up wanting to paint something different from what you've masked out, and so on and so on and so forth, life being what it is. Hello, Arthur. So there we are, so that's that. Now, the second thing is, these dots are not particularly scenic, so there's a couple of ways you could hide them. You're going to paint over some of them, and you could do that. You could put a lot of spatter on to cover them up, but now we all know about this Bokeh process. What we can do instead is we can just pretend we did it on purpose. So we come in with our stencil and we just lift off the offending dots. Hey presto. And we have now a nice Bokeh circle. Ta-da! And we can go over the whole thing doing the same thing as we would if we were doing Bokeh right from the get-go. So I think I'll do that while I'm drinking my tea, and then I'll be back with you in a second to paint the birds. So that's that, and now I'm going to talk just briefly about the colours I'm using. A little dash of black here and there, especially for the eyes. Cadmium red, of course, for the breasts of the birds. Artistic license, mixed with some quinacridone gold, just to give a slightly more natural colour. I've got a green here, I'm not sure which one that is, probably sap green, it really doesn't matter a jot, because it's going to be mixed with other colours when it goes to make the holly. Quinacridone, like I said, this is burnt sienna. I may or may not need a dash of violet, Windsor violet. I've got my white if I lose the eyes of the birds. I've got that to bring back the lights. And of course at the end I'm going to liberally splatter the whole thing with white paint to make it look a bit like snow. So let me see, here we go. Let's start with a number, I think I'm going to use a number 7. That's a number 9. Now where's my 7 here? Yes, a number 7 round brush, nylon brush. These are DRAWELL ones, which you can get from Japan if you want, but any brush will do really. And so let's start by picking up a little bit of quinacridone gold mixed with some burnt sienna. Oh, there was another colour, there we are, sepia or burnt umber for the brown, a little bit of that, to paint the fork handle. Fork handle. The handle of the garden fork. There we are, and then it needs a bit of shadow, so we'll mix some violet with the brown, and we'll just put some shadow in. Doesn't need to be too geometrical. And then I'm going to do the top of the handle of the fork. We'll do that in brown too. But I'm going to paint snow on the top of that when that's dry. So just put a happy mélange of assorted colours on there, and you don't need to keep it too straight because after all, okay, so that's that, and then we go down to the actual the business end of the spade, so to speak. We don't need to go into too much detail there, do we? So just indicate that briefly. Put a bit of violet in there so it ties in with what's above. And we'll leave that for the minute, if not forever. Then holly berries. Do them first because they're fun. So we just roughly indicate some circles here. Leave a little hole so we can put the lights in. On a holly tree, the berries are usually clustered together and they tend to be all roughly the same size. So we put a little bit of shadow underneath the bottom edge of each berry just to define it from its neighbour. We can let that run a little bit and then we'll put the light in later. And yes, the holly. We haven't got very many leaves here, so we can paint them reasonably accurately from the get-go. You could do them sploshy like I did in the last one, but this is just by way of a change. So we'll put in some quinacridone. And then, oh, I don't know, this is olive green. Let's put in some olive green. Make the spikes a bit spikier. And then you can, if you want to, you can draw in the veins with a sharp object. I used to use a cut-up credit card, and then I heard about glass pens, so I invested a small amount of money in one of them. I've heard some very interesting stories from people about their glass pens that they've discovered in the attic or other places like that, that they'd sort of forgotten they ever had them, and just trying to use them now. I hate waste, don't you? I hate it when I have to throw something away or can't find a use for it, or I've got too many of the same thing for some reason. I'm doing each holly leaf a different colour, a different green, and obviously a different shape. And in a different way as well, because, you know, it's interesting, isn't it, to just use different methods. And although I had drawn it, I'm kind of not taking much notice of what I drew. And then we might put a little bit more purple around behind the berries on the handle, just to, I don't know, why not? My New Year's resolution is to be a little bit more systematic after Christmas, after the New Year. Try and remember what paper it is I'm painting on. Because this was a background, no, this was a piece of paper I stretched a while ago. And I'm sorry, I can't tell you what it is. I think it might, I don't know what it is. I'm not going to even guess. I don't know, but it seems to be working okay. I suppose, not too bad. And now for the birds. We will come in with a mixture of quinacridone gold and cadmium red. And paint that bit. And then, oh, that's the other colour I needed. Where's it gone? A little bit of cobalt blue to make the brown a bit softer. There we are, and then the underneath of the robin has a little bit of blue, which is quite convenient because there's quite a lot of blue on this paper, and then just drag that down like that. And then we'll pop his little legs on. And then we want some black for his eye. It gets a bit delicate. You need a point on your brush when it comes to this stage. So we just put that in like that. I might have to come back with a pen. Okay, so that will do for him. Maybe I'll pop the snow in here. While I think of it, in case I forget. This is Winsor & Newton, what do you call it? Designer's gouache, white. Always loses a bit of its whiteness when it's dry. When it is dry, I'll put a little bit more blue on there, a couple of shadows to give it a bit more shape. That'll do for now. Excuse me while I have a little drink of my tea. Just darken down the bird a bit and let that sit. And then we'll do the other two, shall we? Little breast. Might use a pen for that eye because he's so small. And then this one here. Tiny wee bit of blue and then just drag that up. Let that blend. Same thing down here. Just blend that in a little bit. And then we'll put their legs in. Whoops, that's a bit slightly fat-legged. Like me. There we are, no worries, it still works. And then the beak is very tiny on the robin, so I'm going to get the pen out when that's dry. Meanwhile, I shall grab my expressive brush and we'll take some black. A bit of brown. Just indicating a little bit of twig. Okie doke, now a little bit more snow, I think perhaps down here. Oh, and I did say we would put it on the berries, just with a little light. Try not to make them look too even. And I think it will need a little bit more shadow behind. Okay, now my pen will help me out here. The paper's dry. Now we'll just put some eyes into these birds. And if you do lose the light, don't worry, you can just pick up some white gouache if you feel it's important. That brush is no good. The one with a shorter head. Some people have size 000 brushes just for this purpose. You can see why the reason I'm not using a marker pen. I usually use a white pen for this, but there we are. Mine have all dried up. I need to get some more. Okay, so he's okay. I'm just going to emphasize his little legs a little bit. And then a tiny bit of bluey grey. And the snow. Maybe we'll put a little bit of snow here. And then maybe a few lights on the holly. I think he needs a bit more of a light in his eye. So does he. And then I think we'll do a bit of spatter. I think I might do it with the toothbrush. And then I think some nice blue as well, especially around the edges. Sometimes I quite like to do this, sort of indicate that there might be some greenery or something down there. Okay, I think I want to put not with that brush though. There we are. Okay. So I think that's done. I'll just let it dry and see if anything else needs correcting. Okay, so there's the final painting. After it was dried, I just came in and strengthened the colour a little bit in these twigs, and I added a few more holly leaves just to make it look a little bit more balanced and completed. So I hope you enjoyed doing that with me today. I hope you have a go at it yourself. I think the Bokeh came out very well. It was a good improvement on the background that I had to start with. So do give that a try. Just get one of these stencils for yourself, you know, because it makes the whole thing, excuse me, the whole thing much more authentic. So there we are. I'll let you go now, and you can get your sketch of this if you pop along to DianeAntone.com, and you can download it there for free. And yeah, so I will be seeing you again soon. Happy painting, everyone. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.